Let's do it. Got some folks filtering in here. What's going on, everyone? It's maybe like 30 minutes later than I wanted to do, but it's okay. Better now than never. All right, we got people filtering in, so let's get to it. Let's get to it. One second. All right. I might have to stop again in a second, just very quickly, but we got. It's going to be a pretty minor event. Let me start off by saying that. But even just the threat of snow is exciting. So that's why I'm excited. That's why everybody is excited. We have the threat of snow, and it gets some of those old juices flowing again. Trends over the last 24 hours have been, I'd say they've held pretty steady. I don't think there's been any massive changes. I think we've ruled out. I think we've been able to rule out anywhere like south of here, or not even there. I think we've been able to rule out like anywhere south of here being able to get like a half foot of snow or something. We've easily ruled that out. Not that it was ever truly on the table, but we've been able to rule that out. Question is, I think the question here is, put my thoughts together. Let's just play out, NAM 500. Then we'll go through Euro as well. We take a look at some of the changes from yesterday. Please, pretty please, go back. Oh, it doesn't for some reason. It has to be like on the dot. Let me take a look at some of these changes. 1 second. Take a look here at 500 again. Sorry. Notice this again. This is the main area. I think this is the heaviest, where we see the heaviest snow. But right, along the mid. Oh, we got you two folks. I won't miss you out. No, not a massive storm. No, not a massive storm. Not a massive storm, but we are diving into it, and then we're gonna make a snow map. We'll make a snow map live on stream, and then you guys just ask away, with questions, while I make the snow map. And we'll also go over a couple of threats down the line. Not threats, but timelines. I like one more than the other, but I think there'll be some opportunities here. There'll be some opportunities. What's going on, John? What's going on? All right. And some of the differences between the Euro and the NAM here. This is old Euro. Let's update new Euro. Let's take a look here. Difference between here Euro and NAM. immediately. So the key here with the system is we want to stretch this out. We want to stretch this out as much as we can, but we also typically amplification and stretching out of vort do not coincide with one another. Typically, what we want here is we want to amplify. We want to we either we're amplifying, like a two stream system with a north stream and a south stream, and then how quickly those two come together, how much stream interaction we get, how fast that happens. That's when we see the most, we see more amplification, and then either it's going to ride farther inland or it's going to ride off the coast. That's typically what we're talking about here, but this is a little bit different since we don't have a lot of room to work with in terms of this. We get some big dive here. This ridge is so, I mean, look where our ridge is. Look where we're usually we want this like to set up, like right here or something. But we have this ridge really set up along the western U.S. This big ridge that goes even, down over here. So with this setup, it's going to be a little bit difficult to manufacture a massive snowstorm. It's just not the setup in terms of I-95, and also it's November. You got to remember that it's mid-November, so climatology is against us a little bit here. But this is a good enough setup where we have some cold locked in here. You can kind of see here some conflict. We have some cold. We've got some cold air locked in. So the question is, how much cold air can we keep by the time this gets here? And if we can keep enough cold air, and we can also get this amplified enough but stretched out to the point where we can stretch out some of this precip to get into this cold air. But if we amplify this enough as well, we get the two. That's how we can get this mix line to drop a little bit farther south in some of these places that aren't expecting a lot, that are only expecting maybe a coating to an inch, can pull out like 2 inches instead, or 2.5 inches. That's what we're talking about. We don't have a lot of wiggle room here, to try to get, like a half foot of snow or something. If we're talking anywhere south of here, I don't see it, anywhere south of here. Basically, I don't see there's any wiggle room to be able to get, more than like 4 inches of snow with this event. It's just not there, and even then, that'll be a reach. Because what's going to happen is if we don't get some really, take a look here at the NAM 12K. Take a look at the NAM here that we want here, and notice, look at 700 millibars. This is the NAM can tend to over amplify some of this stuff. This is, I don't want to say an outlier, but it's picturing one scenario that it's technically on the table where, notice how strong our forcing is here at 700 millibars. Really strong frontogenesis band. So out in front of this, we have warm air that's surging. Warm air that's surging from the south that's meeting whatever cold air is left here. And that's how we're getting this strong lift, and we're getting some good forcing here. And then that is where the NAM has, we have this warm air meeting this cold air. We got some dynamic cooling taking place because of how strong this lift is right here. And so these areas here right now are in for a treat on this specific run. This is how we maximize the most snow, where we can stretch out and elongate our vort, but also on the southern side of the system, our southern vort, where the low pressure is going to be developing. We want we don't want to take away from that amplification to a certain extent, because otherwise we can miss out on some heavy banding. Now, I mean areas, realistically, these are the areas that have the best shot to get into this band. And again, some models aren't advertising to this extent. It's gonna be hard to figure out. We'll have to look at OBS. You can see the NAM. It's got even the 3K is disagreeing with the 12K to an extent. We have, you can see we have some decent forcing here. So we got decent, but not to the extent that the 12K has. And even if we looked at, the GFS a little bit more. The GFS, honestly, and here's part of why the GFS might be showing this is because the GFS doesn't like. Uh, here's the tricky part. The GFS does not like to consolidate um, energy as much as, well, I guess energy is not the scientific term, but that's what we're going to go with for now. It doesn't like to consolidate this vorticity, this energy, as you know. It just in general, it's one of its biases. It likes to shear off a lot of this vorticity in general with systems that we're looking for when we're looking for amplification. So part of why the GFS may be showing is what it shows is because it's stretching out this vorticity and then waiting to amplify. You know, imagine instead of here, this is not actually where it is and what's happening, but it's waiting more time to amplify our low pressure system. So there's more time for this to stretch out into this cold air, and we can get a little bit. It won't be super heavy precip, but some moderate snow can stretch out, you know, into like these areas before the strongest lift gets there, and so some of these areas can cash out on, you know, maybe a quick ½ inch to an inch of snow. And the HRR, here's where I disagree with the HRR, the 0Z. HRR, first of all, HRR is best for like, you know, within like 6 hours. And even then, it's like 3 to 4 hours if you're lucky. So even the HRR originally, you know, it kind of gets what we want here. Right? We're able to get this. We're able to get some of this precip. You know, notice how we get a little bit earlier than some of our other models. At least I believe so. Let me check. Yep. Yeah, you see that it takes a little bit more time on the NAM than the HRR. Come back. Where was I? Hour 33, right? Yeah, notice the difference here. Or I think it was hour 31. We have much more precip that's overriding this event. But notice how it's trying to chase some of this convection here on the HRR. Notice how these isobars start to invert a little bit because it's trying to chase this convection out here instead of consolidate it. And that's why I don't think it's amplifying. And that's why we see like this big dry spot develop. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think the HRR is a little off with this. It's trying to bounce the low around with the convection, and that's just not what's going to happen. You can see these isobars invert, and this is not an inverted trough system. This is just not even close. So that's why the HRR, you got to hold with a grain of salt, and you gotta look for some things that could be wrong here. But initially, it's not chasing convection. It is a little bit, just a little teeny bit, but not some massive inversion in the isobars here. So originally, we can get this, some of the snow to overrun. That's how we make out. Notice, I mean, we're looking at, realistically, this is probably, that's the wrong color. That's the wrong color to use here. Realistically, we're probably mixing into the Connecticut River Valley. It's always so hard. It always underestimates the warm air that surges. And plus, there's nothing to conclude evidence-wise, but with elevation here in minor elevation, no massive mountains, but hilly terrain, I think this area gets caught in subsidence always, where you get band here and band here. I think this area just always gets caught in subsidence so frequently, even though this event is not going to be like a back to flow kind of event, at least not until over here. So that's the idea. The HRR kind of has a little bit of an idea of how we want. And then I'll say, I'm making the snow map, so I'll show you what exactly my thoughts are. But ideally, to get the most snow out of this, we get the beginning of the HRR, and then if we actually amplify like we're supposed to, that this model run doesn't want to do here, it doesn't show me 500, so I can't look, but I can kind of tell on the surface on what it's trying to show, at least a little bit. I look at the surface to try to figure out what it's doing at the upper levels, because I always know the surface maps are never actually truly what a lot of these models are trying to depict. Is just doing the best it can um, based on the coding, whoever did the coding for the models, and whoever and just the model itself, the physics in the model don't always correlate. But if we look at our initials in this overrunning snow, you can see if we pick a Northwest Mass location, notice we get decent lift, some moderate lift here around -1 omega, which is solid. And all of these soundings I've picked up on, take a look here, -20, we got DGZ starting around here, and then around here. So from 650 to just above 500, or about 500 to 650 is where our dendritic growth zone is here. And notice we're well saturated. We have decent lift. So this is probably, honestly, some pretty decent snowfall right here that the HR is trying to depict, at least. Well saturated. Notice we're not going over this line here. This is our freezing line, and we're not going over. We're staying cold all the way down through the surface. Even if you slide at the very end here, if you slide to 33, 34, it's going to be a little bit of a wetter snow, yes, but at the same time, you're going to be all snow. You're not going to have to worry about mixing if you're like 34. If you stay cold all the way through the mid levels and through the low levels, and then stay cold until the last second at the surface where you're 34, 35, that's you're still snow, just maybe a little bit wetter snow. So it'll be a little bit slushy. Take a little bit harder to accumulate on, especially pavement, more particularly pavement. But the HR is promising, because I know how to decipher some of these biases. So it's trying to stretch out some of this a little bit too much, and this is an intensifying low pressure. And I looked at 500 of all the other models, and every other model at this time has this thing going from a 1012 to a 995 or whatever, across this area. And you can see with that, we're dropping like 15, 20 millibars, and for some reason we're not consolidating convection here, and we're consolidating convection out here, which is just an inherent model bias on this. That's just not going to happen. No, I was talking about the NAM was no good for tropical. We use the NAM for winter. Edinburgh, Connecticut, you live. Yes, I'm good. If State College getting snow, it's going to be close with State College. It's going to be close. I mean, what did I do here? I know. Profile. This was my snow threat map. This is not verbatim, but I'm kind of still liking it, if I'm being honest. How I think I'm going to go about this, I'm probably going to drop the flakes thing. That was just for the threat map, probably. And then what I'm probably going to do is I'll make this area coding to an inch, probably. And then I'll probably do a one. I want to do a 1 to 3, maybe a 3 is probably a 1 to 3, a 3 to 6, and then a 5 to 10, maybe a 5 to 10. We'll when we get there, we'll discuss that. But that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. This was the threat map I make, and I'll show you. I'll pull up my Photoshop. I'll pull it up for y'all, and you'll get to watch me. And I told you how I do this. It's gonna be a little tedious, but We'll get there, and I'll have to copy and paste all my layers I made on the threat map over to a new one first. And I got to make all these like little anchor points that I got to draw. And I got to draw. It's not this. It's not like these little lines, but I got to draw all these little anchor points, and then it'll fill in the shape. Is what it will do. So imagine all this gets filled in. If I wanted to make this like a 8 to 12 area or something, theoretically, that's not going to happen. But this would just fill in once I'm done, and I'd set it on top of a new layer, and then that's how I have to make all these. That's how I make all these different shapes and sizes for my snow maps. Albany, snow or rain. Yeah, I didn't used to do threat maps because I only used to do southern New England. I didn't used to do threat maps, but I think now we are. I think we'll keep the threat map thing going, and then we'll make either the night before or the morning of, depending on when the event comes. We'll make the snow map. Not always live on stream, not always, but maybe we will a lot. Albany, snow or rain. I think you'll stay. So warm air does like to surge. Let me get a more zoomed in area. Warm, we take a look here. This HR is not my go-to model, but just happens to be a model up. Connecticut River Valley, Hudson Valley. The warm air likes to surge. It likes to surge up here. I think not over the Catskills, not quite, but let me redraw that. This area right in here, all the way up. This is like farmlands up in here against the state, and this goes like all the way up into southern Vermont. Whenever there's warm air surging, it tends to go through tends to hit these areas first. Especially in the low to mid levels. At the surface, though, you'll be able to stay pretty cold. So this is areas that I would watch for mix, actually. So I would say Albany is going to go from snow, whatever it is. I think I want to go 1 to 4-ish right now for Albany. It's hard. I want to say 2 to 5 for Albany, and 1 to 4 is kind of broad. It's kind of broad, but that's kind of my Albany thoughts. I'll have to decide whether I want to up the ante or not. It's really, I went over the scenarios. It's whether or not I'm going to buy in. Can we get the strong FGen band to set up so these areas in here can all make out. All these areas in here can make out with enhanced snowfall, at least based on what they were forecasted. I think it will be something like this, and then this will move up, and then we'll set up over an area, and then we'll kind of won't be able to fully pivot. The flow will be we'll start to back the flow once this low pressure starts intensifying into Maine, and then from there, that's these areas get the most snow out of this event, probably, because if you look at 500, this is where you want to go. We just look at 500. You can see it at 500. At first thought, you would think these anywhere south of here has no business getting any snow. Just based on like really surface level analysis at 500, and then you start digging in. We got a little bit cold air out in front, so initially you're going to be able to get a little bit of snow, and that's the case. Why? And then it's not going to amplify super much. It is more amplified than it was yesterday. We wanted this a little bit. That's too small. We wanted this to slide a little bit further and then amplify, so more places it could get into the snow. These areas can try to get into the snow north, like 20 miles north of New York City, across Connecticut, north of Rhode Island, or the coast was never really in it, but these areas could get into more snow. But it looks like that's going to be too hard to manufacture at this point. So what happens is a lot of our cold air is locked into here. So these areas get the most snow. I think this is where the most snow is happening. This is where your your 5 to 10, and then maybe your 8 to 12s happen up here. But I won't draw that because I won't go that. I cut off my snow map that far because nobody lives up here. Nobody that follows me lives up here in pretty northwest Maine. And this is just more of an area for me to look like an idiot. I don't mind looking at an idiot to be able to learn, but there was a certain extent that I wanted to go in terms of how large. And this is already it's already a little daunting, to be honest. It's a little uncomfortable, just because of the transition I'm making from southern New England to freaking 50 million people. Went from like 12 million people to 50 million people to piss off in a like a day span. I decided I was going to do that. It was just like a few weeks ago. Manchester. That's near Hartford, right? I'm blasting all day. Yeah, it's been cold enough now. It's been cold enough, so there's definitely going to be. It's been cold enough, so there's definitely going to be those ski resorts are going to start to get the snow pumping here, and then we'll have more threats too. I'll answer some of these questions here, and then I'll go over. I don't think there's a lot more to go over. We'll check the Euro out when it comes out, and we're gonna go over a couple time frames that are intriguing. At least. One, the teleconnections aren't as great. Like our NAO, EPO, not as great. 17. I think I'm like mid-20s right now, so we're pretty cool. I think we're almost gonna get down to the teens here in CMAS tonight. So. That will be a pleasure. I mean, you walk outside; it's perfect sweatshirt and shorts weather. If you ask me, if you ask a true New Englander, that's how I like it. Central New Haven County, don't expect anything. They do not expect too much to happen there. Keep your expectations low. You might get your first flakes, so I would stay up for that. Stay up to maybe see your first flakes of the year. It's definitely possible. But then you'll quickly go to a mixed freezing rain. Maybe start off, if you're lucky, you start off as frozen precip, whether it's flakes or sleet, etc. Maybe grapple, probably not grapple, but it will be mostly a rain event for the around the New Haven area. And then Manchester, it's tough. I just highlighted. I don't like the Connecticut River Valley ever with any snowstorms ever because for the reasons I just pointed out, with usually finding your way into subsidence, and then especially if we have southwest flow events, you do not ever rely on the Connecticut River Valley or the Hudson Valley to not let that warm air surge up the coast, or not up the coast, but up the valley. Warm air in the mid-levels, especially the mid-levels, and some of the lower levels, not the surface though. At the very surface, you can kind of lock in that cold, especially with a CAD signature, where cold air can lock down from the high pressure. But it's not going to be probably, if you're lucky, you can get maybe a coating to a half inch in Manchester area. But I wouldn't rely on even. You'd be lucky if you see a coating to a half inch. But I'll just probably say in my snow map, I'll probably put you in coating to an inch just because no one gets mad if they don't get a coating and they're expecting a coating of snow. No one's gonna flip out on me, hopefully, because it's just they're not even gonna know, they're gonna be asleep and it's gonna rain for most of this event. So that should be pretty clear that anywhere like south of not even 95, anywhere south of here is not going to have anything to show for in terms of snowfall when they wake up. After they go to bed, they're not going to have anything to show for, probably, unless you're waking up super early. You're going to wake up and it's just all going to be washed away anyways. So now, if we're talking, far northern Mass, elevation, northwest Mass, like over the Albany bubble, you'll probably have something to show for here. These areas will probably have something to show for because we just talked about it. The cold air is locked. It's locked into these. Look, even if I pulled up 0Z, notice where cold air is locked into. This is where cold air is locked into here. So these areas are in exchange. You're going to have more cold air to hang on to for when the precip comes, and that's how they're going to get the more snow. We needed this here. If you wanted to get I-95 involved, that's what you needed to do. That's what you needed to do. And that there was a path. I'm telling you, there was a path here. Just looks like this will be a little bit unpredictable. So we could see some changes tomorrow. This is not the kind of event where changes this is locked in. Like the setup is locked in. The general setup easily locked in. That's not going to change. But we get this to come in a little bit sooner maybe, and we can stretch this out a little bit more. Because what's going to happen is we're going to push this out a little bit. And then when we get this stream interaction to push into here, we get this to happen a little bit sooner. Then we can amplify this a little bit further east so we get a little bit more overrunning snow. And then hopefully, we can get our FGen band to set up, and then areas north of 84 and 95 maybe they can get a couple inches of snow, a few inches of snow if they're lucky. It's on the table. It's definitely on the table for some areas, to see, like 2, 3, 4 inches. If you live, north of the Pike, north of 84, it's definitely possible in this setup. But we're gonna need to rely on, that warm air advection where it gets wonders. We get a warm surge of moisture coming to meet this cold air in place. And the problem is the cold air is just not locked in long enough. So that's why we have some concerns. And so by the time this gets going, the cold air is locked into here, and this warm air is just going to continue to surge through the from around 700 to 900 millibars. And at that point, this is not along the coast, but these are the areas that get into the most snow. And then elevation will help too. Higher elevations will help here, especially at the surface. You won't be significantly colder. You won't be significantly colder at the surface than a lot of places. But from 700 to 900 millibars, you're definitely going to be colder. A lot of these highly elevated spots. When I talk higher elevation, 800 feet is a little bit of elevation to work with. That's nice always, but we're talking 1,200-1,500 feet elevation is some of these spots those are the kind of spots where you're going to really start to see a difference, between the people that have just a little bit of elevation. Like 200 feet of elevation doesn't do a lot for you, really. It doesn't do a lot. Yeah, it does. It does contend to. It does not do well with valleys. It does not do well with valleys. So I'm probably gonna account for that when I make my map. Concord, New Hampshire. Shit. Where is Concord again? I know where Concord is, but I just need to see it on a map. Like that's like I know I sound like not even New England at all, but I know where Concord is. I just gotta see it on a map again. I just gotta see it. Yep, that's exactly where I thought it was. I mean, what did I do with? Yeah, at least 1 of 3 in Concord at a minimum. Yeah, I think Concord could be in for like a 2 to 5, a 2 to 5, maybe a 4 to 6 if you're lucky. A 4 to 6 is definitely on the table here for Concord, but I would say 1 of 3, 2 to 5. I think 1 of 3 is probably around your floor. I think 2 to 5 is a safe middle ground, and I think your ceiling is probably like 4 to 6. Maybe like a 6.5 or 7 if you're super lucky. But you got to remember, warm air is still going to be surging through here. So you're gonna elevate if you're like elevate if you're elevated enough, then maybe you can get in that that 4 to 7 range. But you need some elevation is going to be helpful more than just geography here. Geography is helpful, but in terms of where the setup is happening, but then once the setup is locked in, which it basically is in terms of where it's happening, where our upper level low is, then you can only do so much, and then that's where you start to. Then you need some elevation to work with. No, Syracuse isn't too far north. I'm assuming you're Syracuse, New York. I mean, you're like over here, right? I remember I told you I started to memorize all these counties. So I think we got the Finger Lakes over here, and then Syracuse is like right over here-ish, probably. I'm thinking, yes, I think so. So I think like a 3 to 6 is safe. Probably 2 to 5, 3 to 6. I think a place like Concord has a higher ceiling than because remember I told you the low pressure is getting going. The low pressure is getting going over here. So places over here are going to have a chance. It's hard to. We're probably not back in the flow into Concord yet, but we will up here. So that's why these areas have a higher ceiling than these areas. It's going to be more than just north and south here. It's going to be a little bit more than that. And a lot of the reason it looks like this, because our vort is kind of, it's not completely horizontal. So that's why it looks like that relatively, but also elevation to an extent as well. Yeah, everybody's going to be, I mean, Maine probably. I mean, this where you're going to get really good, the best lift and be locked into snow the whole time, even though places here, if you get snow the whole time, it's going to be still a little bit wetter. Probably you're gonna get really close to mixing it in around 700-900 millibars. Here, you're still going to get really good lift, and you're not going to be quite as warm in some of those places. And so the colder, we look at the dendritic growth zone, those places that I just highlighted are going to be, a little bit colder. Even though I completely disagree, so I don't even want to like use this. The NAM 3K is going to be better. This is what it's supposed to do. You can see the NAM much better at consolidating. Even it's possibly shunting a little bit too much of this to the east, but the NAM is doing a much better. Look at, you can see the difference between the NAM and the HRR. This was what I was trying to highlight. Gee, it's doing a much better job. You see the HR initially, right? This is plausible where we get this over. This is kind of what we're hoping for. I'm telling you, this if we're gonna get snow out of this is kind of what we're hoping for. Get some of this overrunning snow, right? Locked into the cold air a little bit. We can get some of this precip locked into the cold air until our FGen bank comes. Hopefully, we can get our warm air advection to work its magic, like I tweeted out. But then it tries to invert some of these isobars here. This is not an inverted trough setup. This is not like that. It's trying to pull the low pressure. The convection is trying to pull the low pressure to the east. And if I pulled up the NAM here, you can see the difference. Much different. Except the NAM doesn't have as much precip get locked into that. It doesn't have as much precip overrun and stay locked into that cold air for long enough where areas along the pike and I-84, these areas here aren't able to get as much snow because of that. So we want the beginning of the HRR, but then after that, we don't want the last part. But again, using the extended HRR is not always the best idea. Even this, I think it's pulling a little bit too much. I mean, we're not perfectly amplifying our upper level low here, so it's not going to be perfect. And, notice it will consolidate more into main eventually. As you can see here, up in the can, it consolidates a little bit better. However, you're going to be, we click on one of these. My point was we're going to be much colder. Notice we're not even flirting with mixing here. This is not even close. We're multiple degrees from 700 down to 900, which is the main area to watch for in terms of mixing. And look how good our dendritic growth, our DGZ is, dendritic growth zone. I mean, what is this? This is probably close to NVU, to be honest. It's probably close to Linden State. Look how good we go to minus 20. Here's our not perfectly saturated in this part because we're not perfectly saturated, at least at the top of the dendritic growth zone. But notice we have more lift in some of the lower parts, and then from here, this is our DGZ right there, and we're pretty well saturated for most of the dendritic growth zone. Super well saturated, especially in the lower part. We have really good lift here at from in the lower levels to the mid levels. We have really good lift. Not the surface, but from 8 to 700 all the way up to 500, we have strong omega, and that's how you get good snowflake production, and that's how you're able to overcome, especially at 32 degrees, a little bit of wetter snow at the surface, but the snowflakes are going to be primed for being able to stack up a little bit easier than maybe a 32 degree snow that didn't have as great a snowflake production. And that's the idea in general. Like, notice how we're not super saturated all the way through. We're dry. But then once we get to the dendritic growth zone, we saturate, cool the column, and we don't have to worry about mixing in these locations. Even now, I think the NAM does have a little bit of a tendency to over amplify some of this stuff. But more importantly, it has a tendency, I think, to sometimes push some of this warm air a little bit farther north. And I think so. I don't think it's gonna happen exactly like this. I had to guess, I think we're gonna lock in. I think we're gonna lock in some of the snow. It could be a little bit. I mean, let's take a look. We got any Virgo going on? No, no. Eh, I mean, you gotta remember, it's just with snow starting. But once you get, this isn't gonna be great snow. So it's proud. This is why I say a lot of these places are gonna be more flakes than actual big time accumulations. Because notice, at the surface, we a little bit too dry. 24 to 34, probably seeing some flakes, but no real significant accumulation. You gotta remember, I also took the sounding right there, so it doesn't look like a ton of Virgo. It doesn't look like Virgo is gonna be too relevant here. But I mean, it's not great production here, but we're well saturated, so that we got that going for us. And that's expected with this. Because we're gonna have our warm, moist air surging from the south and the southwest. So that's expected. That's that's a positive, but also we're just a little bit. Well, this is flirting. This is flirting a little close. So if we had some strong rates, we'd probably see this back off just a little bit more. Maybe not that much, but a little bit more, so we could get some better. Accumulating snow. But I think the name 3K, at least on the P-type map, is not doing perfect, in my opinion. I mean, and it's not designed to do perfect. I'm just giving my thoughts on what's right and what's wrong. Yeah, for those ski areas, this is going to be a good event to be a little sticky, a little bit wet snow, so it'll be good for those ski areas. RGM, I can take a look at the RGM in a second for sure. Saw on Twitter Syracuse getting 30 inches snow mix. Never believe. Someone's probably just posting it for giggles. And wasn't probably serious with it. Models can't accurately forecast. Models can't accurately forecast beyond 2 days with some of these events, let alone 15. So don't ever believe anybody that posts 15-day snowfall maps. I do think we'll have a chance for a lot of snow, especially in the interior Northeast will be favored, just given it's November. But I think more than just the interior places will be favored. I'll take a look at some of these last. I said I was going to go into the little bit longer range. We'll definitely dive into that, and after that, we'll make the snow map. But don't ever. Get your hopes up. You got to know. You got to be able to filter out some of that information. I say a lot of it. The more you look at this stuff, it's not your fault if you don't know it super well. To an extent, but you gotta make sure you hold yourself accountable in terms of knowing who to get information from and what to do with that information. Because some people are just posting stuff to get clicks. Portland, not a good spot. Not a good spot for this one. I'm sorry, my man. Maybe you get your first flakes. It's possible, but I think you might just start as like a mixed rain, and then you're just raining the whole time. You're going to be surging. You're going to have that warm air surging off the ocean, and with convection. So you got to be able to. You're going to need a little bit more cold air. That's just not going to be available for Portland. But Portland will get plenty of opportunities. Portland makes out well on the events that are close to hitting Boston, but just are 6 hours too late in terms of the evolution of systems, and that's where Portland cashes in on a lot of stuff. I mean, it's not even if the ocean wasn't there. I mean, it's just relative. It's not a great spot. Not a great spot. You would still mix a good amount if the ocean wasn't there. So, but I mean, the ocean's going to be there for as long as we live. So, I don't know how much more you can stay mad at the ocean. unless you move. Yeah, let's look at the big winter. I want a big winter too. You're not the only one. I think anybody that's in this chat right now on Twitter and YouTube is here, and because they want a big winter. I'd be surprised if there was anyone in here right now that was here because they didn't want a big that didn't want a big winter. All right, I did look at the RGM earlier. I think it's a little bit too warm with some of its thermals. I think it's just a bit too warm. I don't think it's doing a great job with that. In terms of 500, compare it to the NAM. It's not all that different. It's not expected to be all that different. Compare it to the Euro. NAM. RGM. RGM is a little bit more. I mean, why was that? Was this a different time? No, RGM is just flat out different. RGM is a little bit less amplified. With our why did it shrink on a come back? Blue. It's a little bit less amplified, so it's drawn out, but it's really shunting off our southern port. So there's really not a ton of consolidation, and our whatever lift, our warm air advection band that we got coming, which is advertised on the RGM, which is a positive, but it's too late. It tries to get it going. It tries to get it going here instead of here, which is where we want. Where we can ideally. It's too much to ask. We can't just makeshift the atmosphere however we want to. So New York City is not getting to this, but within reason, these areas can get into it, and that's why I still think these areas are still up for a 1 to 3 and 3 to 4 if in your high ceiling. That's how you maximize the most out of the system before you switch over to sleet and freezing rain. Get dynamic cooling to cool the column in the atmosphere, and that's how we can pull out some pretty. It'll be pretty heavy snow too in that case. Or it will start as some moderate snow initially, and then we'll see if we can get that band to set up. We can get some heavier snow. I just don't agree with. It's a little bit. I think it's struggling a little bit. Take a look even closer. You can see it's not pulling in a lot. It's just so much weaker than any of the models, especially the NAM in general. But I'll show you the Euro. Take a look. Euro and NAM are roughly similar. Every model is pretty similar. We're just 50-mile differences make a big difference for us given the region we live in. And you can see this, the RGM, the Euro is like a middle ground, I would say, between the NAM 12K and the RGM right now. It's just the RGM is shunting so much of this convection off. But it's allowing all this to shunt off, and this is flatter, yet we're still working so much warm air, and yet there's not really strong convection along with this. I'm telling you, when the warm air surges across and we start to mix, it's going to be along with probably some stronger convection. Yeah, I don't see how we're going to be able to surge all this moisture with the amount of cold air we have locked in. It's not like ridiculous, but it's enough to create the forcing we need for a decent heavy snow band before it changes over. So that's why I don't quite agree with what the RGM is spilling out here. I mean, just look at it. It's trying to It does a little bit, but it's just a little. I think it's a little too late. Notice it does, and you can see this is how dynamic cooling takes place. Notice how these places are freezing rain and sleeting. Switch to yellow. Or freezing rain and sleeting a lot of these locations, and then watch what happens. This is how dynamic cooling works. We get some of this stronger forcing, stronger lift, and we cool the column of the atmosphere. And notice those places that were just freezing, raining, and sleeting are now switching over to heavy snow. Well, let me take a sounding. No, I would love to take a sounding. And so these places just get hammered. I mean, RGM eventually takes off. Just a little. I think it's a little late potentially on the FGen band that gets going. You can see a little bit. It's not, the RGM's not crazy off. I'm like making it sound like it's dead awful. I don't think we're getting this much warm air to surge north without also getting some FGen to set up in this location. Yeah, I just think it's just a little. I think it's a little too warm. I mean, can I get a sounding here? I just think it's a little bit too warm. I mean, yes, this is a sleet, freezing rain, but it's pretty close to the point where you cool the column, you get some heavier precipitation. You're gonna pull this back a little bit more. It's not ridiculous. I just think it's still too warm in general. But even here, you get dynamic cooling to take place. It's maybe not going to be the greatest heavy snow band. It'll lack a little bit, but and then you can see get some dynamic cooling take place. You notice you see how this starts to back off now. This warm air wants to surge here. It wants to keep surging and then come back down here. But notice it's forced to back off. So our temperature here in the from 7 to 800 then backs off, and we stay cool the whole time. And we got some. It's not quite as saturated here in this for some reason. I don't know why this isn't as saturated, but this I mentioned, based on the P-type map, it'd be a little bit more saturated. There'd be a little bit more lift. Yeah, it just seems like some of these RGM's a little messed up. It looks like on some of these thermals. Even I've seen some stuff in recent years that's been pretty good at it. Some stuff on that, but I don't know. It's to me here it's struggling a little bit. So I think we just got to take a mix of all these things here and try to put them together into a snow map. Yeah, we do. We want more snow. You build the snowpack. That's a ski resort term right there. So those are my skiing folks. That's what they want. They want to build a snowpack. If you're not like a ski resort that's just going to powder snow, this is not going to last around. We're in a cold pattern, but it's November, so it's not going to be like 24 degrees every day, and the snow is just going to be sitting on the ground. For northern New England, yes, but places that are like Massachusetts and Hudson Valley that get any snow here, even if it makes it past the rain, which I don't think it is, it's not going to stick around for a lot. All right, let's dig into some more threats. And I preface by using the word threat loosely here. Loosely. First one to watch for. I dragged that out a little bit longer than I wanted to, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna be making a snowman for like an hour. Actually, no, it won't take that long because I had to reset up all my layers last time, so hopefully it will only take like a half hour or so. If we're lucky, we can go quick. Slide here. Right, we talked about polar vortex, how it has such an influence on the winter. Well, we're going to see a little bit of that. We're going to have a bit of a polar vortex split going on here. Notice here, there's a lobe of the polar vortex, yellow, not a good color. We get this low. We're even go a little bit thicker with the pen here. This low of the polar vortex is going to slide down here into the U.S. So even if we don't get snow, this is gonna. I promise you, this will be as long as it doesn't just magically go away, which it can on models. This is gonna be probably a lot of people's coldest air this season. So as it comes, notice the cold air. It's gonna we're bringing in some deep Canadian cold air. So anytime I see this, I see a PV split like this, that immediately makes me curious. I mean, notice we're 1 p.m. or this is right peak of the day when we should be sunlight. November 21st. We are below freezing in all these locations. That's most of the Northeast. Probably besides the coastline, the immediate coastline. We're locking in cold air all the way from here. So this is probably going to be a lot of people's coldest temperatures of the year. And what's going to happen is we're going to have to watch a system after that. We're going to lock in a lot of that cold air. It's going to stay. That cold air is going to stay around, even if it's not verbatim perfect. Maybe we mix in some 40s, in between, which is still around average or cold. That's when we look for the next threat. And this is more of a teleconnection threat that Billy kind of talked about on his stream last night. But also I saw, you saw maybe a couple of those fantasy GFS runs, but a lot, it's way too far out to be looking at model consistency. But a lot of these models have been picking up on a big trough because, teleconnection supporting at negative EPO, we're going to have a ridge build in here. And whenever we have a ridge build in here, and we have a potential. Hold up, let me check. Not quite. We have a little bit of blocking, some blocking around Greenland. And I notice, these are some deep 500 millibar charts here. We're going to have some sort of ridge build in, maybe not that much. And then hopefully we can get a pattern where, that's too much. It's too unrealistic. We can get a pattern here where we can get it, one of these. And then that's how we can get more than just in the interior. And this is one of those setups where we can then maybe talk about I-95. The potential. Too early to go any specifics, even though I just try to go into specifics. It's too early, but if I play back all of these model runs, this is just the GFS 2. Notice it's got some sort of big time trough there, besides maybe a couple. But notice here, boom, 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 boom. All these models got some sort of big trough with a big deep diving ridge. And more importantly, too, no big time southeast ridge. Relative consistency. There's some models that try to mix in a little bit, but at least on the latest, there's not a massive. But that locks in a lot of cold air too. But the reason, remember, we're talking about that PV split. We'll go back to that. Anytime we're getting cold air to come down like this, we can just get I mean, we have a little bit of a southern board here. You noticed. I mean, you saw that. I don't know if you remember that Euro run from a couple days ago. What was happening was backing this up. Whoa, why is that so laggy? It was backing this up, and then this southern board was getting out in front a little bit more. It was still shunted off, but we were able to get upper level load start to develop and then take off here. And, these areas got a big, massive fantasy run on the Euro. So that's why, I mean, we still have, you can still see here, we still have a pretty big ridge. I mean, why is this so laggy? Jeez. So we have a pretty big ridge, and it kind of makes sense. This ridge this big, we're locking in this coal area, come all the way down. Question is how much can we get this to dig, and how much can we, if we let this come back a little bit further, get this to dig a little bit more, we can maybe get the southern piece of energy right here to get a little bit closer, and then maybe we can talk about a snowstorm. But models have been pretty firmly holding steady of relatively, I mean, just holding that piece of energy back. So, and it's trying to, it would be more of a Canadian snowstorm threat than a New England or Northeast. Notice how it tries to take off the upper level low. It's just a little too late on all these GFS runs, but it's here on the Euro too. It's more than present. Notice here, this is a little bit better, a little bit more stretched out. I mean, this is 12Z. Notice it's got that, right? This deep diving cold air coming in. But this is just, this is too shunted off. I want to go back to this. This is too thick of a pen tool right here. This is just shunted off too much. Need this to speed up a little bit more, and even then, this is so elongated. It's going to be hard. We need to see this kind of split off a little bit more. I mean, this is better than the GFS, but it's going to be hard. This one's going to be a little bit harder, just given what we know already and what needs to happen. The reason there's more hope for that 24th to 28th period is because it's what we don't know. We don't know what exactly is going to happen. So that's why there's a little bit more uncertainty and a little bit more things that can happen. I mean, we don't even know what the pieces on the table are with that one yet. That's just more of a teleconnection. But in terms of when you hear EPO, NAO, PNA, when you hear all those things, those are teleconnections. But I mean, Euro's locking in. It's cold too. I'm telling you, these are going to be the coldest, regardless if you see snow or not from here. This is going to feel like winter. And the only thing that concerns me here with us having a PV split this early in the season is I don't want this polar vortex to all of a sudden really, when we see these, they tend to warm. We see our warm event, and we tend to see the polar vortex likes to lengthen again, and then that makes it really difficult potentially to get any big time snow events. So that makes me start to lean. We'll have some opportunities with this split. I think going into late November, maybe even early December, and depending on how much this strengthens back up again, how much can we get access? How available is the polar vortex for is it available for us to access? That will be difficult to tell. Can't really exactly say for now. Because if it really strengthens and gets cold, I mean, it's cold. I was trying to say if it strengthens and that cold air stays locked in, then that's going to be difficult to get a prolonged like wintry pattern. So then it's going to stay back up, and then we're going to have to wait a little bit long. We'll have a little bit of a you want to call it dry season, because you can still get storm threats without the polar vortex, especially once we get into December. But we'll take a little bit of a break probably from some big time, maybe some big time storm threats. That's not a guarantee. It's just you have better shots when you can access the polar vortex. You get much more active winter pattern, especially for the eastern. Especially for, I mean, that's just in general, but especially for the northeast. You want to tap into some of these polar vortex events, which is why it's at least intriguing to me for this. When's this going to be? This time frame is at least intriguing. The 17th. Yeah, this time frame right here, that 18th to 21st, that 19th, maybe that 19th to 21st time frame. It's at least a bit intriguing. You can see here, Euro's not super far off. I mean, notice we get there's something there on the preset map, and then it starts to take off, and then a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's kind of elongated, stretched out. And also we just had a storm amplify prior, so we can get, instead of like this, we can get something. We can get something like this. That's more ideal. So there's time for changes. I don't think there's a lot for me to look at to say that if we get this and this to this happen, then we're good to go. I don't think we're even at that period right now to be able to do that. But it's something to watch. It'll just be something to watch for now. There's nothing to deep dive and break down right now with that, in my opinion. Euro, yep, yeah. I'll look at the euro. I mean, euro's not saying anything. We don't really look at models and say this is what's happening. Yeah, guys. I know when the models are coming. I mean, it's good to remind me, because sometimes I lose track of time. But I got good idea always when the models are coming out. Euro initiates at 12:45 always. Let's take a look what the euro did, and then we'll go make the snow map. How's that sound? Make the snow map live on stream. That'll be interesting. Interesting. It looks like our southern vort is fairly. It looks like it's a little bit more amplified here. And initially, I'm liking this. We look a little bit more stretched out. We still look pretty amplified here on the southern vort. So this is promising. This is promising. Still fairly amplified. Looks like maybe not to the same extent. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's no life-altering changes here, but take a look again. Go back and forth. It's not bad. It's not bad. It looks like it was still holding on. it was still fairly amplified, but it's definitely it doesn't look quite as. I mean, we can relay this back. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's holding a little bit more of that convection back on this run. Take a look here. Yep. It's not bad. And then eventually it really surges this warm air here. I don't know. Man. I don't know how confident I feel now in upstate New York. I can't let these one model runs though. I can't let them. That they do such a good job at deterring my mind from where I want to go. But I mean, we get the amplification. We get just a little bit. I mean, 12s. I mean, can we get that 12Z back? Jeez. You notice low pressure is a little bit farther east. Not the L itself, the isobars. We don't look at the little red L. We look at the isobars. But we're also, we're still converging, pumping this warm, moist air into the cold air. So this tries to push it a little bit further north and east. Again, I knew it wasn't going to be life altering, but I don't know. I don't know how much I trust. I don't know how much I trust this Euro run right here. This might be one of those where the models could be right. They could be very right. It's possible. A lot of the models are trying to call for, not really trying to call for that F-gen bend to set up. They do, just later. They try to develop it later. Question is how much is it shunting? It'll be a little bit easier to tell on the preset map. I don't like we know that we're not fully back. We're not backing this moisture. We know we're not wrapping this moisture around and backing it into this cold air. We know we're not doing that at this spot, but this isn't exactly an inverted trough setup, like I said. It's it isn't, but it is still trying to pull this moisture towards this, trying to pull the LP towards the convection. And I don't know how much we're going to do that. I mean, this reminds me a little bit of the HRR, honestly, and I just don't think we're going to be this dry. I don't think we're going to be this dry. We don't toss completely model runs unless they're known trash models, but I don't know how much we're going to be pushing convection off to the east like that. I mean, we want to take a look at all these snow maps here on all these models. We can take a look at them, see how they compare. Kuchera will be better with this one. Kuchera does, I think, okay with. It's not going to do well with the dendron. It's not going to do well at depicting how good lift is in there, flake production, but it's going to do fine, not overestimating and taking into account that this will be like a wetter snow. So if we want to go weenie out here, let's go weenie out. And we had just had a little bit more overrunning snow on the Euro. And take a look at NAM. NAM was the beauty. NAM is the one we need to happen. We needed that to happen. is. It is looking super dry, and I don't know, man. Remember what I talked to y'all about, and I think this is what's leading me to go as far away from like the euro and the HRR. Remember we talked about this last week. Remember we talked about this. We'll go to tidbits. Where do I want to go? Here we go. Ocean analysis. Select a different region. We want anomalies. We want anomalies. Nope. Whoa, 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 hey, hey. There we go. Look how much above average we are with our sea surface temperatures right now. I mean, this is warm. So this is part of why this may be hurting us a little bit in terms of our mix line. But in terms of a lack of moisture, I mean, we're pumping. I mean, this isn't the end all be all, remember, but I'm just pointing it out that we're going to be able to pump. Oh, crap. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. There we go. And I don't look at, I don't use snow total maps really. I don't really hold a ton of weight on some of those. Here's why the warm ocean is good is because it's going to help support us. You know, the more warm air we can converge against that cold air, the more stronger banding we're going to get. We can get that when we get that cold air to meet warmer. That's when we create frontogenesis. At different levels of the atmosphere. Not like at different levels, but it's going to be at one level. But we can get strong forcing at different levels of the atmosphere depending on where that warm air meets that cold air. And wherever that meets it at where that strongest point is, whatever level the atmosphere is, it's usually we look at 7 to 850 when we look at frontogenesis. But I think we're gonna be looking at that these sea surface temperatures. I remember looking at them, and we've had events before that have underestimated the moisture. I hate making snow maps thinking why we want to get more, and I hate putting any part of that mindset, and that's part of the trouble. Making some of these sometimes. You got to be able to cut your biases out of what you want, and you got to be real with yourself. And I'm always pretty real with myself in terms of when I make these. But this reminded me. I think this is for me. I don't think I can. This isn't the end all be all again. Remember, but for me, this is. I'm looking at this and saying, I don't think we're going to be that dry. I don't think we're going to be that dry. We're really going to have to shunt that. That convection is really not going to be able to consolidate, and if we're going to see that to happen. All right, no promises. No promises. I know you're going to want it, but no promises. I don't even remember where all y'all live. We had like a Concord guy. We had a Manchester. We had a Syracuse. We had all different spots. All different spots. But let's go make the snow map. Yes, it's that time. It's that time. I made a copy of this. So now that I made a copy of this and I have my original, I should be able to edit this one. And now, ta-da! Now let's pull this up. Oh, we're really testing the limits here. We're gonna have to plug in. We're definitely gonna have to plug in this computer at some point. Don't put snow with him. Put it with me. I'm gonna put it wherever my Jedi powers tell me to. So that's gonna happen. So you can probably see it. I mean, we'll pull this up a little bit more. Um, I'm probably gonna have to look back and forth at some of the models. I don't use snowfall maps to make my snowfall map. I use snowfall maps to get an idea of where it correlates with my mind. So I guess I indirectly do. Ideally, if this was like if I wasn't worrying about mix so much, I could look more at QPF totals than I would at snowfall totals. But it's so hard to mix and match. So I'll go. Whoa, stay here, Mike. Mike's trying to fall off. Not a chance. All right. All right, let's take off these layers. So what we're gonna do is, right, so you can see all these different layers I put in here at the bottom. I got all these text layers. Um, I can put one back here, etc. So let's do it. We're gonna take this off. Take this off. Say goodbye. Say goodbye to my little friend. And then what we'll do is we'll hide all these layers here. Hide all these layers. And then if I wanna, we'll see what we do from there. Purple, blue. Weatherbell is good, bro. I'm just it's $270 a year. It's $270 a year. Give Connecticut some love, please. I'm not basing this off what you want. I'm not gonna make this based on what you want. I know you. I know you all. Like I have the power to do this. That's the power I have right now, and I can just fill this bad boy in. That's kind of how it goes. I was trying to explain that to you. I checked it too this year to see if I was going to get it. It's $270. I just can't. I can't pay that. This is Photoshop enough. Is enough money as it is. I can't. I can look at all the information I need. People will post the graphics on Twitter, and I can evaluate them myself as I need to. So it's just I can't pay 270. 270 is too much. Too much. CTA. Can I guess they're gonna get what they're gonna get. You know, you gotta remember. Well, no matter what I make on this map, is not going to change. Is not going to change what's going to happen. All right, let's do it. Nike, just do it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. First is I got to decide. What color? What color should we do? And I think we'll go back to this color. That was a pretty good color. Right? It's light blue. Yeah. And then well, first easy. Easy, but not easy. Because I gotta be precise here, or otherwise it's gonna look stupid. Like at first, I tried to make it so I didn't have to worry about it, so I could just overlap some of these state lines and then not have to worry about drawing into freaking Canada. But it's a little tedious, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's, purple everywhere. I don't think purple's everywhere anymore. I'm just gonna draw all these little dots. So you can put your questions in, you know, whatever you got, whether it's the general pattern, questions about specific stuff. You know, I'm not gonna pull up anything right now because I'm busy making this. But whatever questions you got, I'll have an answer. Whether it's right or wrong, I'll have an answer. I would have preferred to do this a little bit earlier, but I was watching the Celtics. Celtics are a massive priority in my life. Well, this is the code in a one right here. So this is not a. If I zoom in, yeah, we're good. We're good. The question will ultimately be how much warm air can surge up. The warm air, if you're in the lower, I should study this elevation better. I have a good idea of some of this topography here. All right, zoom back out. Decent idea, not perfect. But I'll get better with it. Remember, this is my first year with these expanded maps, so I'm trying my best to not piss off 50 million people. 50 million people don't follow me, but 50 million people do live in the locations I'm doing. So now we got some stuff to figure out. plug this computer in sooner than later. I'm gonna pull up all these snowfall maps. Not because I want to see how much totals, is because I want to see where all these how these are handled. I have an idea of I have a better idea here, but Maine, I'm gonna struggle with that. So that's not gonna be fully my thoughts. No, not that BS. Jesus, come on. They should just take that out. No one ever looks at that. No one ever looks at that. No one ever looks at that euro. Everyone looks at the euro, the high res, always. No one ever looks at that model. All right. How much battery are we draining? Okay. We'll go. Photoshop. I mean, no one's gonna get mad if no one's gonna get mad if they get 0.01 and they don't get a yeah. Go. Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna repeat myself. I'm not looking at these snowfall map for the totals. I already know. I got an idea of what we're looking at in terms of max potential here. I'm looking at it to look at mix line. If this was more just an all snow regular system, I say regular what we want, then we could then I would look at QPF map more. So I'm looking at this for more in particular the mix line with this with these models. And then I'm trying to connect it with my own pods as well. Okay. I think we'll get a little bit overrunning. So I think a lot of these places will get. I'm telling you, I do not like the Valley. Do not like the Valley whatsoever here with this event. I don't like what I did there. I mean, I might be being harsh. I might be being harsh on the Valley. I don't think I am. I could be. I don't think I'm being that harsh on the Valley. On further evaluation, I don't think I'm being that harsh. But I'm hating on you. Bro, I'm not. I'm not even looking. I'm not even looking at you. I'm not even looking at what you're saying. I'm putting it on my thoughts. My thoughts only. And regardless of whether or not I put you in it, I can't. Mother Nature is gonna get what it's gonna get. Connecticut is not the spot to be for this event. It never has been. It's northern, northwest Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, upstate New York, Maine, some parts of PA. That's where the most snow is with this one. Never been Connecticut. I mean, man, yeah, I don't quite believe in that, but okay. I think the name, I think PA. I like a mix of the NAM Euro. I think the Euro's a little underdoing it for some parts of PA. In terms of its snowfall map, but I like what the NAM's doing a little bit with PA. I especially think. Yeah, I mean these. When we get into parts of Tioga, I think there's some good elevation there. Some places can make out well. Is Twitter loading? It looks like stuck on the screen for some reason. Maybe it's just my Twitter. Open it back up again. Yeah, there we go. It's updated. No, it looks like we're good. Let's see. We got hard decisions to make over the code into 1 inch. We'll get this into 5%, like 5 minutes. We'll get this into Putnam, and then I don't think we can go. We'll get this into parts of Putnam. We'll do like a cutoff with Putnam. Northwest Jersey's always got good elevation, so they make out pretty well with some of this stuff. I don't know, the euros. I want this euro. Not that I want this euro. I want to use this euro as more of a frame of reference. To be honest, I think this euro had a better idea. Notice picking up the valleys, having trouble accumulating snow. They'll still get like a coating to an inch, but when we get to the accumulating part, the next layer of the map, that's where the problem is. Bro, there's no spot in Connecticut that has 5,000 feet of elevation. There's not a single spot in Connecticut that has five. There's not a single spot in Massachusetts that has 5,000 feet. I don't know if there's even a single spot in the Northeast that has 5,000 feet elevation. There is nowhere. There is nowhere in the Northeast that has five. Maybe Mount Washington. Mount Mansfield, I think, is in Vermont. The tallest mountain in Vermont is not even like 4,000. It's like not even 4,000. There's not a single spot in Connecticut that has 5,000 feet elevation. Bro, there's not one spot, bro. I'm telling you, there's not one spot in Connecticut. Our elevation is 138 feet, my guy. You live in the valley. There is not one spot that has 5,000 feet elevation in the Northeast. Not one spot. All right, now that I wasted my time on explaining why there's no 5,000 feet elevation. Yeah, 50 feet. You think you think 50? It's not 5K. There's nowhere in the Northeast 5K. You live in the Connecticut River Valley, my guy. You will live at one of the lowest elevations when it comes to the interior Northeast. I hate to break it to you. All right, let's get cooking. All right. I like the eight. My current thoughts align most with a mix of the 18Z Euro and why this in the 0Z name. I think that's where my thoughts, and I know those two are two of the more bullish ones. I mean, not really for these places, but those were my. I think the NAM is picking up on some of this at FGen banding. And also, I doubt we go. This cutoff is that. I mean, it'll be a sharp cutoff, but come on now. We go from 0 to 2 inches like that. I don't think we'll be that sharp of a cutoff. All right. Covered it up. There we go. Layer number 1. Done. That's going to be coding to an inch. And just to be clear, like this could like shift plus or minus like 20 miles. I know that's a lot, but plus or minus 10, 15 miles. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it is. I mean, wait, I told you, this is not an amateur. This is how the professionals, do it. They're a little bit better than me at this, so they probably work a little bit faster. But I'm also they're doing this. I'm doing this. I probably won't do this every time because it's tedious, especially when I'm trying to answer what questions I can for y'all. But I just want to make. I promise y'all at least a couple times I let y'all see me. Make this live, and this is not a blockbuster. End all or be all event for most people. It's minimal expectation, and like most people that are getting any snow, it's like a one. Yeah, it's like a 1 to 3 kind of thing. All right, let's plug in the laptop here. All right, there we go. Gucci. Yeah, we'll do this for a big storm. Of course we will. This won't be the last time we probably do this. I'll let y'all in on my secrets. It's so tedious. This takes. I enjoy it. I really enjoy making these. A little bit more fun with no pressure and just for fantasy kind of. But when it's really happening, you get to make the decisions. There's a little bit of power. It feels like, especially when you have like 5,000 followers on Twitter that care, and a growing YouTube community too. Especially not that Twitter isn't growing, but YouTube just has not been wasn't present for a while, and now I think the live streams are starting to help with that in terms of engagement, and connecting to my subscribers more a little bit, gaining subscribers. So that's good. Alrighty, new. Good, please. There we go. And then what I can do here also is I can click on this and I can feather it a little bit. So I can make it not perfectly clean if I don't want to. You see that? So then it kind of looks a little bit more distorted. I kind of like that, to be honest. But also it looks super clean, if I put it like this. It does look pretty clean like that. What do y'all think? Should I feather it? Or should we keep it like this? Because I can feather it a little bit. I did on the first one. Let me get it here. I kind of like an in-between. I can feather it a little bit, maybe something like this. A little bit. I was thinking so too. This is a little much. Go back down a little bit. Seems like we agree on the middle. I think something like that. I think that looks super clean. I think that looks really clean right there, to be honest. And that way people can't, if you live right here, you can't be like, well, you didn't have me in the code in the one. Just be like, bro, look closer. Look closer. Imagine you're there. You're there. Like, gives me just a teeny bit more leeway, and then we'll make the rest of the ones. Maybe we'll feather a little bit, but we'll try to keep it a little bit cleaner, but at least for the code in one. But and again, flakes in these areas. I mean, I don't know if I want to go that far, but New York City, all these people can see their first flakes too. All these people can see their first flakes. So I don't want to make it seem like these people can't see any snowflakes, but just in terms of accumulation, I think further north is the best bet. All right, this layer will go a little bit quicker. No. We'll go blue. Let's see, where do we want to go here? Yeah, I'm liking that. Now we gotta make some decisions. See, I don't know about this NAM. I just don't think it's going to be that widespread for PA. That's why I'm in between a 18Z Euro and I'm in between the 0Z NAM right now in terms of where my thoughts are best aligned. So I'm trying to do a little bit of a combination. Sorry, this is the kind of event where if you're in between too much, you can kind of bust low or high on either side too much. Give PA the good stuff. I'm gonna, however, give PA nothing, bro. What you got against PA? You're not a Phillies fan. You don't like Philly? You're not a Sixers fan, or maybe you are, and you just hate that they let you down or something. I don't know. All right, let's do it. So I got to decide on 1 to 3. Yeah, we'll make this 1 to 3. We'll do 1 to 3 with this one. All your homies hate PA. What's wrong with PA? I've been to Pennsylvania many times. I think, especially I've been up towards Lancaster County. I think I've been through the Allentown area, at least driving wise. I have been. I think PA is nice. A lot of farmland. I just realized. Nope. Damn, we're all over the place with this one. I'm trying to look super close. Not great. Not great here. No, no. Come back. Baby, come back. Here we go. Now we're on a roll. The straight lines are easier. Oops, that was I mean, listen, you gotta remember, no matter what I draw on this snow map is not gonna change how much snow you don't or do see tomorrow. Whatever happens, happens. There's nothing I can do to control it. Man, we should have cut off more. I mean, I know I'm just gonna slap a banner over this anyway, so F it. All right, now we got decisions. Now we got decisions to make again. Boom, boom. Nam really cuts off Maine, if I remember correctly. Europe is a little bit more. Southern Maine, southwestern Maine, I think is a little bit more. You want music? How about some Christmas music? Pull up some Christmas music. I mean, it's cold now. That's not. But we want the originals. Oh, we're starting off with "Let It Snow." Are you kidding me? We got a couple new subscribers. Appreciate the new subscribers tonight. Oh, that's a good vibe right there. That is a good vibe right there. It's pretty quiet too. Oh, no. Too all over the place. Gotta cut down on some of these. Bro, that "Let It Snow" is hitting different right now. It is hitting different while making the snow map. All right. All right. I think I got an idea. And then after I'm done, we'll look at what the Euro did for the long range pattern, and then we'll wrap it up. We're almost done with this too. We're almost done. Best weatherman on YouTube. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. see what we got coming on next. It's beginning to dawn. Christmas. Beautiful, beautiful. Oh no, is it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I try to answer everybody's questions. I try not to spread hate. I don't get political on purpose. I think politics. I think politics are. I think politics are what separate people. I don't know why we focus on. I don't know why we focus on stuff like that about people instead of who you are as a person. Honestly, it confuses me so much. Why we divide people between red and blue instead of you know instead of appreciating people for who they are. People aren't just red and blue; they're black, white, brown. Asian. They're people. People are everything. And you gotta celebrate people and who they are, and not try to divide people apart because of their politics. I think that's stupid, and that's why we stick together so we don't create opportunities for people to divide themselves. I don't think that's a good idea. I just don't think that not a good idea. I don't think that's healthy in general. All right, now we got decisions to make. Telling you I don't like the valley. I don't like the valley. We'll back this up. Back this up a little bit. Yeah, yeah, we like that. Kirk Cousins, you like that? Yeah, we like that. Here we go. You like that? Right. Kirk is wild on some of those videos now. I mean, how high does this thing go here? All right, we'll stop it there. Bro, Kirk be wearing that ice. How did I build such a great community? How long did it take? Twitter. I joined Twitter in 2019. And I started posting on YouTube. I actually started on YouTube, really crappy stuff. And I got better. I got better. And ever since I'd say 2020 to 2021, I'd say that's when we'd be doing some really good analysis. Um, and we took off. Um, I think with a lot of the tropical stuff I did in that 2021 summer, or I'd say 2020 summer, we took off with some of the tropical stuff. 2021 for a lot of the 2021, 2022 winter, we did really well in terms of expanding stuff. And then yeah, we I'd say last winter we did is with the most gain. I think I gained like 2,000 followers last winter. Like a lot of them, we got like hundreds on one storm, that blizzard of 22 last year. And I just try not to be super rude. I try to express my opinion without you know making people in a certain way. Not because I'm a little bit of a people pleaser, but also listen, I'm myself, and I'm happy with myself. And I can be happy with myself without trying to piss people off. I got other places. I got people close to me where I can express, other, opinions, etc. on stuff that's not needed. I keep it really weather related for most part compared to a lot of the accounts on Twitter that create a lot of problems a lot of times where they, the problem on Twitter is people reveal their inner thoughts and then expect everyone else um, to have the same inner thoughts as them. And then if they don't, then they just get into heated arguments and then end up blocking each other by the end. And I don't know why the same thing happened. I mean, I do know why, but just people can. It's unfortunate. Again, remember, I'm looking at this in reference for mixed line, not for. Do I know where Greasy Grove is? Wait, you talking about Fortnite? I haven't played Fortnite in years. Years. If that's what you're talking about, Greasy Grove. That sounds familiar, like a Fortnite, because I used to play Fortnite. Grassy Grove, Vermont. Is that even a thing? Yeah, but I mean, my community, I don't know. I think YouTube is just getting started. I think I'll check it out after. I'll check it out after. I gotta fin. I gotta. I keep procrastinating. Santa Baby turned you on. Santa Baby is an arousing song. Oh, the snow map, bro. If the snow map don't turn you on, that's not sus. That's just, bro. Snow maps are exciting, my guy. Snow maps are exciting. They get you going. Get those. Get those. They get you excited. You know, they get you get those snow juices flowing, man. It is that you can. It's a high that you can live on for as long as you're tracking, even if it's just as minimal as this. There we go. There we go. Like a layer and a half more, and then all done. Won't be too much longer. Almost done. And then we can just add on those layers again. How much do we want to feather this? We probably want to feather this just a little bit. Yeah, not that much, not that much. perfectly smooth. Yeah, I like that. Go a little bit less. Yeah, I'm liking that. All right, 3 to 6, 3 to 7. Yeah, that'll do. All right, now we gotta make some big. Whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, yeah, this is exciting. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yo, keep your wood to yourself there. I get it. Snowstorm's exciting, but man, this song is loud. Too much. Too much. Too much. Yeah, wild and to say the least. You're revealing too much. Too much. You on that 5K CT. Alrighty. All models seem to agree on this little. That is going to be that you're right. That is going to be an inside joke from the very beginning YouTube people. Fill with the purple we used here. Yeah, I like that. Telling you, Binghamton always. This area always comes out with something. And maybe I want to undo some of these anchor points. All right, bro. We gotta chill on the snowwood stuff. We gotta chill just a little bit, just a little bit. Great song choice for what we're talking about. I was not laughing at the wood jokes. I promise you that. Too many wood jokes. Like three too many wood jokes. Yeah, that's right. And we've been distracted enough already as it is. And remember, this does not include the lake effect. All right. We are chill. Seriously, can we please chill on the wood jokes, please? I don't want to put you in timeout. I know you're just messing around, but I'm trying to. That's too much. See, now I got distracted. Try not to blame. Be. I just gotta be more focused on myself. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, you can still talk and stuff, but your friend, who's your friend, Jeff? If you say who I think you're about to say, you better not. What's his last name? Say his last name. This is who I think you're about to say. You're gonna get you're gonna get blocked and out of here. No, no. There's possible connection here if he says who I think he's about to say. If not, this might be just completely unrelated. I had to deal with some guy on Twitter this week. That was not fun for me. John, if that is him, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it, and he's gone right away. Yeah, I didn't only have 5 followers. It was some dude main account who claimed he had to copy all my stuff for a college paper. He claimed all this stuff he needed in order to pass his college, whatever. And I just wasn't buying it. Okay, okay, you're not him. Okay, you're all good. You're all good, my man. You're all good then. This dude claimed to be Jeff. I won't say his last name, but he claimed to be. You know what? I don't know. He was nowhere to be found on the internet. He claimed to be a Jeff Rizzo with only one Z. No one took my account. Someone tried to copy everything I did, and it was rather frustrating. Are you serious? This dude was DMing people about. Mm, yeah, dude, I don't have 5 followers. If I want to flex myself a little bit right now, I got like 5,000 followers almost. I only got like the 2 followers this dude had. And if this dude makes other accounts, by the way, too, it is not me. It is not me. This dude has been BSing with me this whole time, and it's been super, super frustrating. Super frustrating. I just got bad energy thinking about it. I didn't get hacked. I didn't get hacked. I did not get hacked. Yeah, it's a good thing you didn't because that dude was really thinking that stuff was helping him for some. I don't know why. No, you mean that's for sure not me? I'm not that dumb, bro. That was a big. That was a big. If that was an autocorrect or spelling right, that was a big. That was an important word that got messed up right there. ST STJ. Well, no one hacked me. It's just some dude who was messing with me for some reason, or he was really messed up. One or the other. Yeah, yeah, I like this. I think this will do. Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa! Why are we going from this anchor point? This could be a problem. Oh, did I not connect the two? That's possibly why. Oh no, 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 no! Edit. What in the? Yep, that's the dude. HG. Right, that's definitely the dude. That's definitely the dude. I don't know what the problem is here with. Oh, is this all trying to? I got a bad feeling. I got a bad feeling that I gotta redo this. Oh, we got a lot of stuff we gotta undo now. I mean, it's just gonna be quicker if I. There she goes. There she goes. It's fine. Yeah, dude, this dude was messed. He's messed up. That was one of the weirdest DMs. Why did it go? Because I I messed up. That's why I messed it up. It's okay. It's a small fix. It's just a small fix. It kept getting recommended that. That's frustrating too. New layer. We'll feather that after. And I just went through all this, so that's the good news. It won't be as hard this time because I just memorized that all. This is going to be a heck of an interesting. Bro, come on, we talked about the wood jokes. Told you. Bro, I don't know if you want to jump. Great song. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Jeez. It doesn't get much more better. I love that you think that it is a high point in your life. Because it's very much a high point for me, too. I love this stuff. And this isn't even that big of an event. That's a little low. It's a little too high. But, 3 bears. There we go. Porridge just right. Yeah, bro. Hopefully YouTube can expand. I hate the YouTube weather format right now. Not that I hate what Ryan Hall is doing. I think he's making a positive impact despite the clickbait. It's direct weather, and there's others too. I think Weatherman Plus kind of hypes it up way too much. I don't watch it, but I see the video. Like I'll watch a little bit and to get an idea, like I just have in the past. And it's frustrating because I know what I do. I actually break stuff down. Not saying like these people don't break stuff down; they just don't break it down like how it's supposed to. Um, Direct weather only cares about um, direct weather only. You know, he makes tens of thousands of dollars BSing people a year. He makes tens of thousands of dollars a year BSing people. He does not know the atmosphere. He does not know weather, and he somehow gets away with this. I don't know how, but he does. People like half of his subscribers are like people that just are fed up and like just don't watch his videos anymore. I'm skeptical of doing this, but I mean, I hate spreading like I don't want to talk crap about people, but like he's messing up people's forecasts. People actually value that stuff. If they don't know any better. It's not their fault if they don't know any better. And he continues to toy with people. He knows he doesn't know it, and he acts like it, and he just pulls up P-type maps. Doesn't show anybody files because he doesn't understand it. Never took the time to understand it. Instead, he just messes with people. And that's because he doesn't know any better. He tries to forecast the whole country. He tries to half-ass forecast for the whole country, and it doesn't. That's not how you do it. You can't do that. He's not smart enough to be able to forecast for the whole country and accurately do it whatsoever. So he doesn't even try. He just makes the Photoshop stuff, gets the clicks, gets his money, and making a living off this. Not any of the models are picking up on this, but I'm telling you, this county every time comes away with a orographic band, meaning their terrain helps induce. And I hate what I just drew. Why did I do that? We're already at the 060 NAM. Actually, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. What is the timing of this event? It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday night um to I should say Tuesday afternoon to Wednesday morning's the main time frame. It'll be a fairly quick mover, so um we'll sit around a little longer for Maine. Why did that go all the way up here? I did not need that to go that far. Here we go. I got it all the way down there, but this is my. This is my 3 to 6, 3 to 7 area, I think. Did I just make it worse? It's fine. We'll take that away. Right, don't even. Don't even. I was 3 steps ahead of all of you with that. You probably didn't even notice. Yeah, I know. I know. I wasn't even trying to do that. You seriously got to cut back on that stuff too. I don't know. Your mind only thinks like that. Will this solve some problems? Yeah, I know he didn't see it. Like that. That's all that dude has seen for the last hour and a half is wood. That's all he's seen. It's all he's seen and all he thought. No, you'd be surprised. No, it just doesn't look good. We gotta take it off. It's fine. Actually, here's what we're gonna do. It's gonna look a little wonky. It's gonna look a little wonky, but that's okay. Man, you gotta change his head. Dude, you can't change someone's head. All right, that looks much better. and we can feather that out some too. See, now look at that. Maybe too much. There we go. That looks much, much better. Bro, we gotta chill with the comments. Remember we talked about it in Eastern New York, close. Well, that's because of the. It's just where the. I'm doing this. Killing my, killing my arm. There we go. That's just because of where you live here and the setup. Yeah, I try not to, but please, bro, you gotta relax just a little bit. Relax. I get it. What's all that's probably flowing through your mind half the day. Just have a just how a young person's mind works. Anybody under 25, that's really all they think about. It's not just 25, but until the brain fully develops. All right, last layer. Layer new. How old I am? I'm not gonna say that, but I'll give you a broad range. I am definitely, I am plenty old enough to vote. I'll leave it at that. One time, see, I say it for one time, and then it's there forever. It's kind of how it works. Is the problem? I'm very careful about that stuff. I don't want to. I make it 23. Maybe not. Okay, why am I going to Epic Pen? That's what happens. Gotta stay focused here. Yeah, I like this one. Yep, that'll do. We'll be able to check the NAM too. Can we get a max? Max what? Max? Max age? Um, I'm not old enough to be president. I'll tell you that. Nam is out right now, and we're gonna look at that right after we're finished with that, and I'll go get some sleep, and maybe we'll do another stream tomorrow night. Actually, yeah, we'll do another stream. Do another stream tomorrow night. Well, at least you got a late class, John. At least it's not super early. But tell me there's not some satisfaction of like just watching me put all these dots together, knowing I have the power to make whatever I want. I could go completely rogue and make like an 18 to 24 if I wanted to. It doesn't look stupid, does it? Yeah, you should be too if you were. I mean, that will look better when it's feathered a little bit. No, that looks stupid. These lucky people right here get extended a little bit just to make the map look smoother. Mess that up yet again. Is it? I don't have enough information. It definitely is different. It's a good thing I didn't drop all those totals down. But again, I'm not going full in. I'm not worrying about me. It's a little different. It's just not as. It's just not. It doesn't amplify the southern vort to the same extent. It's definitely if we look at 700 front of Genesis, it's just not quite. I mean, it's there. It's there. It's just it's not. Not see how much stronger we were. Our F Gen Ben was in the last one. It's not quite as put together. That's the main difference. And it's small difference. It's a small difference, but important. So I'm relying on that F Gen Ben to be a little bit stronger than what a lot of the models have right now. Not because of out of wanting it to be. Well, of course we want it to be, but it's not out of wanting it to be. It's out of just how I'm thinking that this is going to shape up. So not hidden. Oh, this is almost over with. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, well, we don't want to overreact. You got to remember too, just because it's the latest. For a little freezing rain. Well, maybe you get something a little frozen. Hopefully, not enough to impact the roads, but get hopefully you get some little frozen, John. Big changes. There weren't really big changes. There's not really big changes happening. It looks like it based on the snowfall stuff. It looks like it. It's just it's really not as big as some people. The changes aren't as big as some people make them out to be. They get really caught up in the snow map and how they change and stuff, but it's really not that. It's not. The changes aren't as drastic as they're made out to be. So you got to look at 500. You notice when I looked at 500, it was small little differences. That's all it is. No, what the frick? Why? Hopefully Mount Washington's in here. If they're not, it's too bad for them. There we go. I mean, yeah, I mean the snow map, the snow map, yeah. If we looked at it, we can if we compare the snow map from this run to last run, it's because it's a little bit different setup at 500. We get more preset. We get more preset to break out and amplify. We get more preset to break out and amplify on the previous one, and that's kind of what I'm relying on. And new model, none of the models mean they're the best. Every model is going to be wrong somewhere. The job is to figure out where it's going to be wrong and use that to try to be right. That's kind of how this works, basically. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right either. This map may be dead wrong. John, you're not alone. You are not alone. Well, I knew I would make it. I didn't think I'd be still streaming, but it is what it is. I'd still be awake at this time, regardless. We are not getting up early tomorrow morning, I'll tell you that. But you gotta remember, the newest model's not always the most accurate. And okay, okay, we got this. Yeah, shout out to you. I appreciate it. First of all, everybody here in the YouTube chat right now, I want to thank you because it is making it like obviously there's been some distractions and stuff, which is gonna happen. John is in the Twitter chat. I'm streaming live on Twitter and on YouTube right now. Um, that's why you don't see John, or or John's a hacker. John is sitting next to. Yeah, John's a ghost in the room right now, or he's a hacker. John could be a hacker too. It's possible. Oh, we just got winter weather advisories going up now. New Hampshire just. Let's shout out to everyone in the YouTube chat. Shout out to all my YouTube folks right now. Actually, we don't need to change that. We just need to change. Whoa, 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 whoa. Edit. There we go. Yeah. John says he's in the room. He just can't see me. It's possible. A little bit smaller. I'll get it done. John is not helping me make the map. John, I was joking. John is in the Twitter live. John, I go live on Twitter. I go live on YouTube. It started as YouTube, or it started as Twitter, and so everybody all my followers on Twitter can watch this. Um, I'm not gonna lie. When we get into the heart of winter, we got a big time snowstorm and a lot of people in here. It's gonna be hard for me to read all your chats. It's gonna be hard just because people are gonna want to ask questions, and I'm a decent person at this. I'm pretty well. I'm not like not the top of the food chain, but I'm well respected in terms of how it works on Twitter. Given most people don't know my age, who I am, etc., they just know my analysis and heard my voice on streams. And no, I don't sound like a 12-year-old, so there's there's enough respect. But we've increased. We'll grow a lot on Twitter this, and hopefully Twitter. Remember us, of course, of course. I won't forget. I won't forget it. And if y'all stay here long enough and trust you, and maybe YouTube keeps growing and growing, maybe some of y'all will be my first moderators, be my first mods once once I get to have some proof of trust. I'm not saying that you aren't, but so John is making his own. John does not make his own. John is not going to pay for Photoshop to make a snowfall map. I'm sure he'd love to make fantasy snowfall maps. I'm sure he would love to. we go. Galaxy in the vision. And the vision's going to need to get adjusted. Yeah, bro. I mean, I was just joking, to be honest. Not that you couldn't. I'm sure you've learned enough about this where you can make more respectable snow maps on here, John, than like 15% of the community, to be honest. Like, they just put out the P-type maps they just put out is ridiculous. Yeah, interesting strat. It's a little. There we go. Watch this right here. Boom! This is where my Photoshop skills come in handy. We'll do this. Make a little magic, and then watch what we'll do here. Bang, bang. There we go. Now I'm sure you can. John does have his own Twitter. There's no John in the YouTube chat. Let me make that clear. There's no John in the YouTube chat. John, many of you don't know this because you came just from YouTube, which is fine. Just, actually, it's great. I didn't when I first started the new stream setup. I added YouTube on kind of as a non-expectant. If maybe anybody would show up, that'd be great. And the support I've gotten from YouTube folks is fantastic. John is more of just I don't want to say a fan. Like I try to make it seem like I'm big, like massive or something, but John is just a supporter on Twitter who's been here for a while now and likes the content I put out. And he's just a regular Twitter follower, and he just takes the time to tag along on some of my streams, or actually a lot of my streams, which has been it's been awesome because there's a lot of times where he's the only one in the Twitter chat, and he doesn't feel like it. Sometimes it makes it easier just another person to talk to. So especially because there's been times where there's been nobody in the YouTube chat. A little bigger. So we'll go coding. Oh, yep. There we go. All right, now we can make this bigger. Oh. On Twitter? Okay, well, there's a couple people I'm sure that are from Twitter at least. Even bigger. Oh yeah, baby. Now we're talking. All right, let's bring this back. Once in a lifetime experience. How about that? I didn't even. John, I trust you, so don't take it personally. But it's not a YouTube chat. I've known John for much longer. I've known John for a year or two now or something on Twitter. He's been following me. Oh, this is looking super clean. I mean, we can adjust some of this stuff, but this is looking clean, man. Add a little. Couple of years. I mean, it's not going to take that much. Greater than direct. Yeah, we know that. We know we're greater than direct weather. That's not a question. We don't got to worry about that. All right, let's play with some of these feathering stuff now. Let's feather this a little bit. Yeah, yeah, we liking that. Well, lamb probably was just a little bit drier. I mean, we talked about that earlier. I like my snowfall map. I think if I think I could be we could have to bring this up a little bit more. Um, I'm telling you, I'm just relying on that FGen band a little bit more. Six. We gotta feather this a little bit. How would that look? No, 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 no. At least not me. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Yep, that'll do. Oh, don't even, bro. I'm telling you, you're way too many, bro. For the future, way less, way less. Good. I don't want you. Seem like you're a decent person, so I don't feel like I want to time you out ever. But listen, I'm not. You gotta limit it. You gotta. You just gotta try. No, I get it. No, I understand. You're just joking around. And listen, that I have that side of me too. I have that side of me where I'm, hanging out with my friends and stuff, etc. You can become way less mature, but it just we got to reform that just a little bit. We can bring some of that without going, that sexual every single time. We can have some of that to a certain extent. You get there's you got to be a little bit more timely and a little bit less out there, just a little bit. Who's my longest active Twitter supporter slash fan? I don't know if I had any. I didn't have any fans in the beginning. I don't know if I even. I guess I just had one who tried to copy everything I was making. I guess that was my first psycho fan. Um, it was someone I came close with who doesn't tweet a lot as now. Can't blame him. Twitter's you're not obligated. You shouldn't be obligated to tweet as much as you can. I just enjoy the interactions, and I have plenty. At the moment, I have a time to manage on social media. I won't next year as much, but this year I do. Just for what's going on in my life. But it was I don't know, there's probably more someone, but name of JKP Weather, um, and he's from around here, and we were both small accounts, and yeah, yeah. Um, all right, let's post this on that. This, oh, okay, I get it. Uh, file, export. Save. No, the live tweet action. No, he's not a loser. I'm pretty sure he was just joking with me. That's why I don't really respond to my notifications on screen. He's not a loser. I promise you, he's not a loser. There's a. It's possible he was. I don't think he was. I think he was just joking more because he came in on the stream briefly, and I think he came in on that exact time frame when I said that. So I'm gonna use my mind to make an assumption that it's possible. It's possible he was actually being serious, but we've DM back and forth with each other, so we're like pretty. We don't got any beef or anything. He's a storm chaser. He's a good. He'll be a good meteorologist one day. He's a college student, college meteorology student at Albany. What did it say? No, I know that did not just say that word. There we go. You're not in the YouTube, but in the Twitter stream. No, none of my Twitter people go through YouTube really. Expose who? No, it was the song. It was the song. It wasn't anybody saying anything. It was just the song. I thought it said a bad word. Like more, I said that word like I'm 7 or something. But why did Twitter develop so fast? I mean, they got things they gotta do. They gotta sleep. I mean, not many people are up at this hour. You gotta remember. Um, it just is what it is. Why do they not come to YouTube? Because they're already on Twitter. If they can see it on Twitter, then why would they open it up on YouTube? appreciate it. First no map of the year, yeah. It's a good milestone for sure. Cheers. Oh, okay. This is the first of many snow maps this year. We'll do plenty more analysis. Hopefully, we'll have plenty of stuff to stream this year and to go over. Good night, God, church. Yeah, I appreciate everyone that came in. I appreciate it. Eventually, maybe YouTube will able to get monetization. Eventually, again, that's not why I do. That's not why I do what I do. I do this just out of my enjoyment for this. But I appreciate everyone that comes in because I do this. This is not. I don't do this for money. So I just do this because I enjoy it. So that's basically it. I got people that enjoy my analysis, and I enjoy giving my analysis. So I appreciate everyone that's came in here for a while tonight. You've enjoyed the YouTube discussion posts? All right, then we'll keep those. I didn't even go too great into detail, but you can also follow me on Twitter if you have Twitter at PGWX. If you want to see my content there as well. pin my tweet here. Yeah, if you don't have a Twitter game, just make a burner account. It doesn't have to be an official Twitter account. I didn't quote the tweet. Did someone else quote the tweet? Oh, appreciate it, John. There we go. All right. I appreciate everyone that came in, and we'll call it a stream from there. Thank you, everyone. Longest stream I've ever done before, by far. Hopefully, we don't have to do one this long again, but that was pretty tedious at some point. But I appreciate everyone that came in, the interactions we had tonight. I will see you all later. John, thanks for hanging around the Twitter chat too. Congratulations on your mod too. Another stream tomorrow night, everyone. Most likely another stream tomorrow night. I'll see y'all. John, get some sleep. You got class tomorrow, my guy.